Good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 126 of the 476ers podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about last night's season opener, so stay tuned.
Justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 126. I wonder how dark I can be after the first game of the season. I mean, how awful could this feel? How low could I get? And we're going to find out here today. I'm going to try to be positive, though. Let's start with go Phils. It's the Fightins. Go Phils. First, game one win in the NLCS. That's great. Listen, I've been following. I actually watched more Phillies baseball this year than I've watched in mad years. Now, that doesn't say much. It's not that much. And actually, I had watched a lot of baseball in May and June, a little bit in July, and I just did not watch again throughout August and September until kind of like the end of September. And then playoffs started. Boom, I was back. So if you want to call me a bandwagon fan, I don't really give a shit. That's fine. Go Phils. But while that was happening, we opened the season against the Celtics. I mean, where do I even begin? The Celtics had the best player on the floor. Tatum, you can argue the two best players. You know what I mean? And Harden had a good game. I'll get to us, but I just want to give a brief overview of this game, what I felt emotionally watching. Joel, just one of those games where Joe has no energy, comes out in a malaise, and I don't really know why. Not sure what's happening. It's the season opener. You're playing your rival. Maybe you saw Horford, decided you didn't really want to play that much. I don't know. You just didn't look very engaged. Defensively, I mean, we just pathetic defensively. But then on top of that, Joe, I mean, I just... Can you keep your hands up on defense maybe? Could you maybe just do that? I'm just wondering. Could you have your hands up? Is that a thing that people still do in this day and age? Is that still taught in basketball clinics across the world? On defense, keep your hands up. On defense, keep your hands up. Marcus Smart hit a layup on Joe, hit a jumper over Joe. Why? Because Joe is trying to contest late, trying to bring his hand up. Joe's arm is 8 feet long, and it weighs 250 pounds. When you're trying to swing, that's a wide berth. It's going to take 37 seconds for you to get your hand from where your knee is all the way up to an actual contest. Of course you can't contest in time. Keep your fucking hands up a little bit so you could just boop, 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 contesting everywhere. Tipping passes, doing things like that. You used to do shit like that. Now I don't even know. It's a regression on defense. You want to be the MVP, that's how you got to do it. That's how you got to do it. Last night's game, I had PTSD for two reasons. The reason number one was because it reminded me a ton of when we first signed Al Horford, of the first game we had Al, and I was watching, and I was like, what is happening here right now? Why do we look like this? We look like shit. Last year, I missed the days of last year, of yesteryear. Was so much fun. It was so fun, ball movement out the ass. And then when Toby I think it was when Toby had COVID, and I had made my argument that Niang maybe should start over Toby at times just because the ball was zipping around. Everyone's moving the ball. It's Joe's team. Tyrese is scoring, breaking down defenses. Yeah, we had a limited ceiling, but the ball was moving. But now it's a James Harden team. And when I said that, so I had the first PTSD. I'm seeing explosions, thinking about our first season with Al. But then talking to the homie Vic, and I say, I mean, this is a James Harden team right here. We're going to lose. We're going to feast on bad teams. We're going to win 55 to 60 games, but every big game we're going to lose. We're not going to make any noise in the playoffs. It's a Daryl Morey team, too, because this is Daryl assembles this team, and then in the offseason, when you had a disappointing end to the season, he has stats and all these graphs that are going to back up why it worked out and blah, 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 but you're not going to actually make any serious fucking inroads. I know it's game one. It's early. I know. But here's the thing. Last year when we would lose, and I've talked about this a million times, there's just a different feeling around different teams where you lose a game and you're like, yeah, but you know what? It's good. You're going to lose some games. And then there are those teams where you have it and you're like, this don't fucking smell right to me. It don't smell right. So I say it's a James Harden team. My homie Vic says it's also a Doc team. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you're right. Boom, PTSD triggered again. Yeah, it's a Doc team too. A James Harden, Doc Rivers special here. Jesus. I mean, it's the worst case scenario. And here's Joel just kind of existing. I mean, the reason why Jason Tatum was the best player last night, and Jalen played great too, but in my opinion, Tatum was the best player on their court last night. And the only reason why I'm even saying that way is because I know for some people, scoring points is the only thing that people do on a basketball court. You know what I mean? It's like, well, they both scored 35. How could you say one was the best and one was? Well, because one did a little bit more. One, Tatum had a double-double. He had 12 rebounds, which was, pretty incredible for Tatum. He had 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. And Jalen was great, 35 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. But the reason why Tatum was great was because defensively, if you watch that game, I mean, he felt like he was fucking everywhere. One, Tatum is it's very clear to me that they said he was 7 feet tall. I'm positive he's 7 feet tall. I mean, he looks fucking gigantic. His arms span the length of the court. I think he can touch one 3-point line and touch the other one at the same time. I feel confident about that. I mean, he is just flying everywhere on defense. On offense, he's gotten better somehow. We just saw him play 3 months ago. 3.5 months ago, he was playing basketball. 4 months ago. And now he's gotten better. He's taken another step. Jalen, to a degree, still his handle can still be a little bit loose. But I mean, the story with Jalen, it's 2 different stories. Jason came in his rookie year, he was polished, and he's been polishing more. Jalen came in as a raw athlete. That was it. And now this fucking guy has everything in him. His bag is full of gifts and treats. I mean, my man's been trick-or-treating for 12 years straight, got a bag bussing. Do everything on a court. Tatum, I mean, but then Tatum, again, Jalen played great defensively as well, but Tatum just felt like he was everywhere on defense. And you know what I saw? I saw a team, and this is similar to when we play the Bucks. It's teams that have been tested. Now, the Celtics were in the finals last year. They know what it takes. We're a rival to them. They're going to have stupid losses, I'm sure. They're going to have losses against teams that don't matter, like the Magic or, whatever. But against teams like us, when they see the Nets, the Nets did this to us last year too. You think about when they first came here with Ben and we had James and they fucking crushed us, same thing. Guys who know what it takes to win a championship. They've been in the gauntlet of the playoffs into the finals. And then opening night, they want to make a fucking statement and they want to fucking make it impossible. And they did that. Hey, Harden had a great game, though. It's the story of James Harden. The Harden story. It's the Harden classic. Joel is so great that he looked like shit and still finished with incredible numbers. It's pretty wild. It's just one of those things. Players hit a certain level, and that's where Joel is. That elite, like top 5 territory, top 10 territory, where even when you have a bad game, you still somehow finish with 20-plus points and you filled up the box sheet with stuff. You know what I mean? And that's the level that Joel's on. But in order to take the next leap, I mean, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. All right, here's the other thing. About this game. 2 issues that are, one issue that I already talked about. We're not going to get transition baskets. We finished with 2 points in transition. In all fairness, all due respect to the Sixers, the Celtics are a great defensive team, so you can argue that they are limiting our transition points. All of their guys are athletes. They're all very good defenders as well, so they're getting back on defense. Sure, they're limiting our transition. However, we don't have any athlete that can exploit speed except for Maxey. But you can't have Maxey running a single-man fast break. It doesn't necessarily work that way. You know what I mean? It's not he's gonna get those opportunities, but it's not a sustainable thing. You need other guys on the perimeter who can run with him a little bit. Very few players can run with Maxey, let's be clear. But you need guys who can get out and run with him a little bit. Like this is just him. Joel looked faster at certain points. There was one point where he had a stupid turnover. The ball went off his leg, and then Marcus Smart ends up turning it over. It's in the first quarter, but while Joel looked fast, he did look faster in that moment. In general, you didn't see him running much at all. None of us really ran. We had 2 fast break points, and then we had the 1 take foul that Tyrese got. Those were the only 2 legitimate situations. The thing is that James Harden is not a fast break person. If you watch when he was the biggest misconception of him on the Rockets with Mike D'Antoni, the maestro of the 7 seconds or less offense, was not running that with James Harden. It's just that Harden is a fucking genius, so it doesn't matter. He wants to dissect the defense. It's what he wants to do. It's what LeBron has always wanted to do. It's what Luka Doncic wants to do. It's what Chris Paul wants to do. Those guys don't actually get out in transition. We don't have horses to do it. And when other teams get out in transition, we can't fucking keep up. We can't stop it. You know what one of the biggest differences from last night to last year was? I don't think Joel said a word yesterday for the first time in his career. Now, obviously, I'm being facetious. He talked to lots of refs. He talked to Marcus Smart, whatever. I don't, whatever, that, the fakest beef in the world. And Marcus, okay, fine. But you don't see him talking at all on defense. No communication on defense. No, I got this. There was one play in the third quarter while they're running the score up on us, where Marcus Smart gets a wide open 3-pointer, right? They go out in transition. It's a 3-on-1. Harden is the only one back, and somehow they don't score a bucket, really, because a bounce pass from Brogdon, Jalen mishandled the pass, whatever. We're slowly getting back. The slowest transition defense in the world. 8 seconds into their shot clock, we're finally back in some semblance of a defense, except Joel is late. He gets back last. At this point, Tobias is standing in the paint for no reason. He's just standing there alone, all right, because the 3-on-1 is Brogdon, it's Tatum, it's Jalen. Brogdon goes to Jalen. Tatum is there. Finally, Toby gets back. Now you have James is focused on Jalen. And then you have Toby, who's kind of semi-focused on Tatum. And then I forgot who else gets back, whatever. Tatum falls back out of the paint to the 3-point line. Tobias is still standing in the paint. Joel finally gets back and ends up grabbing Tatum. Marcus Smart gets back. Now you have a 5-on-4 because Joel never says anything to Tobias. Tobias never says anything to Joel. There is no communication here. So Tobias is just standing in the paint, no man's land. There's Marcus Smart, wide open 3-pointer. Plays like that are how you lose. Big games. You can get away with that against the Wizards, probably against the Knicks, the Hornets nest. You're not going to get away with that against the good teams. They're going to make you pay every single fucking time. The Celtics are a good team. Joe Mazzulla's out there chewing his gum. Looks like a horse. I never seen a jaw dislocate so much, like a fucking cobra, the way he chews his gum. Christ. I mean, Doc, whatever. It's just no coaching, nothing happening, no movement. There's no ball movement. We're not even running an offense. Our offense is stagnant as soon as the game starts somehow. Somehow the game has just started. We're already stagnant on offense because it's just, all right, James, you create. No, you got nothing. Okay, Joel, your turn. No, okay, no one's cutting, right? Okay. Joel's getting double teamed. No one cuts. Everyone's standing around looking. Joel, I love you to death. You're one of my favorite basketball players of all time. I've enjoyed watching you. It's been a pleasure. Your defense has gotten lazier. You had 6 turnovers last night. I don't know that you had 6 turnovers last year. I think you did. I think there was a game where you had a lot of turnovers, like one of those games against like the Heat or the Raptors, whatever. But you had done such a good job of cleaning the lazy shit up. You know what it is about Joe that drives me crazy? When I'm watching him, his body doesn't look like it's engaged. It just kind of looks like he's just kind of hanging around, and then it's time to go. Hanging around, and then it's time to go. It's like watching a boxer who's just kind of got his hands down, he's fucking around, and then the guy gets a little bit closer, puts his hands up, which is awful. Unless you were Roy Jones in his prime, or, Zab Judah in his prime. You know, other than that, though, you got to be ready at all times. I don't even understand why you're not constantly engaged. Tatum looked like the player. It's the thing that you want your best players to do, be able to affect every possession, it feels like. That is the thing that separates guys. This guy affects every possession. Unless you're a Luka or Joker level offensive genius who on defense doesn't necessarily have to make such a massive imprint, or a Larry Bird level genius, even though Larry would make a lot of defensive plays, but still that wasn't the thing. But when you're Giannis, when you're Tatum, Kawhi in his prime, Paul George in his prime, LeBron in his prime, even though LeBron was also a genius on offense, but LeBron in his prime, MJ in his prime, those guys somehow seem like they're everywhere at all times. Joel, too many times in his career, and some of it isn't his fault, but too many times in his career, he's looked like a afterthought on offense and on defense. Last year, I thought was probably Joel's best season of his career, because it was the year where he looked like he was everywhere doing every single thing. That's how you finish second in MVP voting. This year, after night one, you're fourth in MVP voting. After the first night. Oh, I'm sorry, probably fifth. If you were voting last night, okay, boom, NBA season's over. Last night was the only night that's happened. It would be Tatum, Steph, Jalen, James, Harden, and then Joel. Maybe you could even put LeBron in front of Joel. They can compete because LeBron lost by 20. Whatever, you can compete. You didn't look like the best player on the floor. And then James. Okay, James. Let's go down. Okay, let's go down the list here. Tobias. Oh, man. Hey, you had a really good second quarter. You had a good second quarter. Tried to post up Malcolm Brogdon, failed. Brogdon, the greatest post defender of all time, because he locks up Tobias. He locks up Tobias. He locked up Montrez on multiple post up opportunities from Montrez. No movement on Malcolm Brogdon. Montrez. I'll get to him in a second. Tobias, he had a good second quarter. First quarter, whatever. Second half didn't matter. You finished 2 for 6 in the second half, if I'm not mistaken. But that was those two baskets happened in the last minute when they just didn't give a fuck. Because this game is actually somehow, if you can believe it, we lost by 9. The game was actually way more out of hand over the last 4 minutes of the game. There was really no hope. And then Tobias, he scores 2 baskets at the end. He was 0 for 4 up until that point in the second half. Shot the ball well, I thought, though, so that's a good thing. Didn't get active on rebounds. It's not the worst thing, although what was the rebounding edge, I wonder here? Let me see. 122, 31. Oh, the 31 to 36. Yeah, we lost the rebounding edge, coming with the biggest players in the world. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm lying. We don't have the biggest players in the world. We're actually the most undersized team in the world, but Joel is 7'3", 7'2". He had a good defense, good rebounding game, actually. But anyway, not a ton of rebounding. Had 3 steals. I don't even know where those 3 steals came from, I'll be honest with you. I don't remember those. PJ didn't make a 3. Had a, whatever. He played basketball yesterday. I don't. Again, I think people are relying too much on PJ Tucker as a thing. When PJ looked old 2 years ago, he's had moments throughout the last 2 years. But I'm sorry, did it look difficult for Tatum yesterday? Looked pretty fucking easy to me. Joel, we talked about you at length. 1 for 6 from 3. A lot of three-pointers, I'll be honest. One of them was a step back end of the shot clock three-pointer. I'll take away, that. Still 1 for 5. Too many three-pointers. I get it. They're double teaming. You're getting frustrated, so you're relying on a lot of three-pointers. However, that can't be the thing. You need more pick and rolls. Pick and pop is fine here and there. I'd rather you pick and pop at the mid-range. Because then I don't know how many guys, when you're doing a pick and pop to a three-pointer, you're just not going to get a ton of contests. But in the mid-range, you're going to have defenders that are flying at you because they're terrified of your jump shot. That shit is wet from the mid-range. And at that point, you can pump fake, do all types of things, but we're not doing any of that. We're not getting any movement. All we're trying to do is kind of get the ball to Joel in the post. Everyone just stands around looking at him. Then he's getting double-teamed, and now he's loose with the ball again, just fucking around with it. You know, playing hot potato with the basketball for no reason, and then bang. But the next thing you know, he's lost the ball. 6 turnovers. Ultimately, great rebounding game, 15 rebounds. As you know, I've talked about Joel and his poor rebounding over the years. You know, 15 rebounds is nice. Hopefully it stays that way. You know, I really do hope it stays that way. I mean, you got to be grabbing more rebounds. There's just no reason. Although the rebounds didn't feel super impactful, that's the other thing. But in general, I want you grabbing more rebounds. Maxey was pretty quiet until the third quarter when Harden was off the court, and then he had a really great run at the end of that third quarter. It lasted for 2 or 3 minutes. He scored maybe 6 straight points, 7 straight points. I don't know. I thought he had generally a good game. Just didn't have a ton of opportunity to put an impact. But he's far from the reason we lost. 5 fouls, not great. It's not totally his fault because they are massive. Their center, Al Horford isn't tall. He's 6'9", 6'10", but everyone else in their lineup is big. Derek White, I think, is 6'5". Marcus Smart, 6'3", 6'4". Then you have Jaylen Brown, I think he's 6'8". Tatum is 6'10", 6'11". They're really big. So then any switch that happens with any of the guards, you're kind of shit out of luck. Harden had a great game offensively. I actually thought he had a couple of good defensive plays, if you can believe that, where he stood his ground okay. But anything that goes lateral, he's just out of the picture. It's really, he does okay when someone tries to attack him directly. But as soon as someone's dancing left to right and he's swinging like that, it's over. You're just not going to be able to do anything. And also, there's just one play where Ian Eagle called him a magician in the third quarter. Great. But he drives by Grant Williams, gets a layup. And he goes, oh, James Harden, the magician. Very next play, Grant Williams wide open three-pointer in the corner. It was James Harden over-helping, standing in the paint. I don't know why. You have one job here. We have you already. We have strategically placed you on the player with the least offensive ability, Grant Williams. So all you got to do is make sure he doesn't kill you. And for some reason, you're standing in the paint. You're just in the paint. You're like Sherwin Brothers, just in the paint. Grant Williams open three-pointer. It really sums up whatever. Anyway, but other than that, though, he had a good game. 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 turnovers. It's not bad. James can be very prone to a lot of turnovers. Montrez. Montrez, boy. My man, you did not play well, to say the least. You were brought here. High energy, high effort guy, grabs rebounds, gobbles them up. You did not have a rebound yesterday. You had 0 rebounds yesterday. You had more fouls than rebounds. You had more fouls than points. You had a block. That was nice. You got scored on mad times. Anyway, D'Anthony Melton, yeah, he had an okay game. 5 points. That was it. 1 steal. 2 fouls. One of those fouls, not his fault. Gets that in a second. Hit a 3. He played okay. Yeah, I thought he was, active defensively. That's it. Danwell, you did not play well. You did not play good. 1 point you had. You had the famed 1-1-1-1, except you had 2 steals. I wish you had 1 steal so I could say the famed 1-1-1-1-1, the 5 ones stat line. Niang, you didn't really play well. It's not your fault. It's not good vibes right now on the team. And I think you only play when there's good vibes. And I think it's not your fault, Minivan. You know what I mean? Minivan, you were on the cover of fucking Good Kid, Mad City. And now these bitches are killing your vibe. And that's the problem. You can't live in that environment. Matisse, 24 seconds. Here's the thing. I know I've seen a lot of things about Matisse. I think Matisse probably should have played more. But listen, Matisse is 6'5". He's a good defender. I'm not saying he's not a good defender. He is 6'5". He weighs 132 pounds. At this point, Tatum is a grown fucking man. Tatum is 6'10". He weighs 250 pounds. His arms are as long as the day, as long as a leap year. The longest arms. He is the summer solstice. Right? I think the summer solstice is the longest day. Yes. The solstice. His arms are as long as the solstice. Matisse is not going to stop that from happening. But with that said, Doc, what in the fuck? Here's the thing. I don't care that he only played 24 seconds. I'll be honest. He has no offensive ability. You know what I mean? What defense was he going to do that was going to stop? I mean, these dudes are in no defense. However, Doc, end of the first half, you bring in Matisse for 20 seconds or for 16 seconds. I forgot what it was. You bring him in at the end of the half, first half. Celtics inbound. D'Anthony Melton is now guarding Jason Tatum at the end of the first half. D'Anthony Melton is guarding Tatum. But why did you bring in Matisse for? Just to be here? Just because he was around? It may not have been that Melton was guarding Tatum. It may have been actually that we were in the zone. But even then, if we were in the zone, Matisse was relegated to the weak side corner in the zone. Why wouldn't he be at the top of the zone? Was it a zone, or did you just not think that we're going to, offense and defense, bring in our best defender, arguably best perimeter defender, but we're not going to put him on their best perimeter basketball player? What was the point, Doc? What was it? What was it? Yeah. I almost thought about calling this episode Chalk It 3. As you know, Chalk It every year, except for last year. There was not a Chalk It last year. But was there a Chalk It last year? No, I don't think there was a Chalk It last year. There was a Chalk It 2 years ago and a Chalk It the previous year. Actually, I think both of those Chalk Its happened off the back of losses to the Cavaliers. Maybe. I may be wrong. Was there a Chalk? I can't remember. Anyway, I almost called this episode Chalk It because this is going to be a dark season. I'll be honest. I could see it already. This shit is going to be as dark as Game of Thrones, as The Long Night, the darkest episode in the history of television. You can't see anything. It's like a ninja fight where all you can see is sparks. But like in the ninja fight, that's the point of the ninja fight, is only to see sparks. It's like a Dragon Ball Z fight. You know what I mean? Where you're like sitting there like, oh, okay, they're moving too fast for me to see. This is going to be the long night. Except at the end of this night, the Night King doesn't die in the most depressing, disappointing manner. Not to make this a Game of Thrones thing. Joe, I hope to see a better effort from you tomorrow night against the Bucks. Otherwise, we're going to start the season 0-2. We'll have the Spurs on Saturday. They're actively trying to lose, so hopefully we can get our first win of the season. Please come in with more fucking effort. Hey, guys, maybe move the ball a little bit. Maybe I don't feel like watching hard. I fucking hate that we made this stupid fucking trade. I fucking hate that we made this trade for Harden. I would have given anything for last year's good vibes. I would have been way more satisfied if you told me we're going to carry last year's vibes for the next 10 years, but we're never going to win a championship. Guaranteed. I would take that over the awful vibes of we have James, but anything can happen. You could win, because we won't. It's still guaranteed you're not going to win a championship. James looked good. He looked okay, I guess. That's it. In other news, the Lakers, they're not good. Nobody on the history of the planet celebrates quite like Russell Westbrook getting an and one while he's down 10. There is no more visceral celebration that occurs. There is nothing. There's just nothing like it, honestly. It's the most down 10, and one, I am now screaming expletives. And like Russ's mouth is like, he has the most expressive face on the planet. So the whole thing, it's just like bends and folds, and it's words just, and it's every word is a curse word, even when it's not. Steph just had a good time last night. I mean, he was just having a good time. Clay looked good. His shot looked pure, especially from the mid-range. He had a couple mid-range jumpers that it was just counted. Boop. Okay, last thing. TNT's broadcast. What in the fuck? I don't know if anyone else noticed this. If you watch the game on TNT, maybe it's just my TV. I don't know. I do not enjoy hearing Ian Eagle count a basket before I visually see the basket go in. I am watching Tatum release, and here's Ian Eagle. Tatum, good. And now the ball's traveling to the rim, and it's good. Do better, TNT. Also, mad times where they cut from one camera angle to the other, and the second camera angle is replaying the second before. So like I'm watching, all right, so boom, I'm watching Tobias. He's coming down at 3-point line. He's about to post somebody up. He gets to the free throw line, cut to the next camera. Now this camera is showing me him coming from the 3-point line again to the free throw line. Clean your shit up. Go Phils. Go Eagles. Los Aguilas. Go green. Go red. Red October. Green, whatever. Green something. And then, yeah, there's the Sixers over there. Let's go Fly Guys. That's it, everyone. Wash your hands. Hopefully tomorrow's a better day. Right? That's all you can hope for. A better day tomorrow. Wash your hands, everyone. Stay safe. Black Lives Matter. Keep your distance if you're sick. Stay the fuck away from me. Black Lives Matter. Asian Lives Matter. All the letters, the LGBTQ plus I. Damn, I can't. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm going to do better. I'm going to try to get, because it's awful. All the lives matter. Stop being stupid. I hate everyone. Protect the woman's right to choose. Just in case you're confused. I didn't mean to make that rhyme. Anyway, everyone, stay safe. Take care. We have the Bucks on Friday night. I'll see you.
Yeah. Justice for the blind. Just something that'll find in the rhyme that are coming from my mind. Used to come